Oh man. The whole point is to share it on here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Embarrass the shit out of yourself.
Keep the conversation, as random as possible.
And you're doing a fine job on your end.
Welcome everybody to JG's Lounge. I'm your host Jukebox, back with another episode of StarrDumB. With me today, I have two guests. We've got Evolution next to me, man. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Glad to be a part of an episode once again. I was counting how many episodes I was on, and it's way over 100 now. So it's a great day, man. I'm excited and ready to go.
Yeah, good. And this is the first time that I've ever actually had a guest on where I had to go through like their reception. I don't know if she's your secretary or your receptionist, but Dr. Robb Kelly, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. I apologize for that. Yeah, I have gatekeepers all around me. You're surprised how many people chase me down, but yeah, good job, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on. I did went through your website. I listened to some of the other podcasts that you've been on, so I got kind of a feel for you. But I'm very excited to be having you on today. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Dr. Robb Kelly. I specialize in addiction, alcoholism, depression, childhood trauma, PTSD, and all of the above. Been in the industry for about 30 years with almost 9,000 patients. Originally, as you can tell by my accent, I'm from East Texas. I'm from Manchester, England. And I was born in England, guys, but I got here as quick as I could. I promise you I got here as quick as I could. So I've been in Texas for 18 years, 14 in Dallas. And now I reside in the good old San Antonio, Texas.
What made you move to Texas in particular?
I came here for 2 weeks to do a talk in a conference and just never went back home.
Man, that's nice.
I got off the plane and went, oh my God, this sun, oh my God, this American dream. And then everything else kind of fell into place from there. Really, I mean, within 3 months, I got a movie deal, and which pays me like six figures. The only ever time I've seen six figures was when I was writing the Times table back in the day. But yeah, they offered me this chunk of money. I did it. And then the rest, boom, off we go.
Yeah, I know they have some pretty renowned hospitals down there for like that specialize in certain things too. So like my wife has like heart issues, and I know they've got like heart institutes down there that are pretty well known. So yeah,
it's pretty cool.
You mentioned addiction, and I think you said you've been doing it for 30 years. I remember like my dad was an alcoholic, and still is an alcoholic. I don't even talk to the guy, but like there's other forms now. Like kids get addicted to social media. I mean, it's just caffeine. There's energy drinks everywhere. Like I've experienced a withdrawal from caffeine recently, and I didn't even know I was addicted to it.
Yeah.
Do you experience a lot of these different types of addiction?
Well, here's what we used to do. 90% of our work was pure addiction. 10% was entrepreneurs, stuff like that. 90% now are entrepreneurs, people who want to make something of themselves, people addicted to iPads, iPhones, and stuff like that. So yeah, we do see, but we're kind of neuroscientists, and we've done a lot of research on addiction and social behavior. And we found that there's different parts of the brain are not what you think they are. And addiction and alcoholism is not what you think it is. Like if you could just stop drinking, everything would be good. Well, it was that easy. I wouldn't have stabbed my wife 3 times one night. I wouldn't almost kill my kids. I mean, that's what we got into, and found out that across the board, everybody's addicted to something. And depending about your brain makeup, depends which way you go with that. So usually self-sabotage. There's billions of neural pathways in the head, but 300 neural pathways die every day. So the basis of our teachings is, what are you replacing them 300 with? You do the repetition, strengthen, confirms, where the basal ganglia picks it up, the iPad, the data, the screen time, and all that stuff. And then that basal ganglia enough times becomes a working part of the mind. So now we're done. We're never really going to amount to anything, because this working part of the mind is self-destruction all of the time.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's crazy. No, it's crazy. You kind of went crazy there for a second and talked about your personal stuff. I'd like to kind of let everybody that's listening or that's going to tune in later kind of get feel for what you went through. Like I said, I heard it on some other podcasts, but you personally experienced this and pretty in
Yeah.
depth.
I think looking back, I think, I became homeless and I'll run through the story, but my homelessness at the time was hell on earth. But when I look back, it was like a semester university at Yale University. It was amazing. But I took my first drink at the age of 9 on stage with my musical family. I was the bass guitarist in the group. My uncle gave me a beer. And then that kind of took off. The first moment I drank it, it's like the world just changed for me right there and then. And it took my nerves away. And, I went through school every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, would be out gigging. And, I wanted to be a pro musician. I was good enough. It's like I have the addictive personality. I'm either going to do something or I'm not. Yeah, I've never played basketball. Someone said the other day, "You want to come in?" No. Why? Never done it. Well, you might be good. No, don't want to do it. So I have either to be the best in the world, or I'm not. I'm going to walk away and not do anything. So through a long story, I got to be the session musician at Abbey Road in London, which is a famous recording studio.
Yeah.
I played with Bowie, Queen, Elton John, all them guys in sessions, many years ago. So I did all that, but it kind of masked. I get to college, not on my own doing, but it was a Freemason thing. I get to college. I'm in the imposter syndrome area because wasn't supposed to be there. And then kept drinking, and eventually got married, 2 children, eventually lost everything. And the first time I was homeless on the street on a little bench, it was pouring down. I thought to myself, where the hell did that just go wrong? But nobody could tell me, guys. Nobody could tell me. Well, the reason you're doing this because you did that. Oh, go to AA, or hey, just stop drinking. And that really confused me and annoyed me and angered me. It's like no medical doctor today can explain alcoholism or cannot treat alcoholism, period. The medical fraternity do not want to know because there's no money in recovery. Imagine going to a doctor and going, "Hey, can I have a pill to cure this illness?" So you take the pill, it cures the illness, and 3 or 4 months later, you stop taking the medication. It just never happened.
Right.
It's never happened.
Right. My dad, like I said, has been an alcoholic my whole life, and for the longest time, my sister and I was like, "There's no way he can stop." And then he got in trouble with the law because he was beating on his girlfriend, and he was under probation for like a year. Stopped drinking. I mean, cold turkey, just stopped drinking. Did it for 9 months, no problem. Nicest guy in the world when he's sober. Yeah. As soon as he got off probation, right back to the bottle. Yeah, and he's just a complete jerk. So he has the ability to stop, and he just chooses not to. And then that was an eye opener for us.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works. It's all to do with people thinking. Ask anybody in the world what's alcoholism, they'll give you the same reply. It's somebody who drinks too much alcohol or somebody who can't control alcohol. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. That's a statement that we come up with. It's like it's not the alcohol. So what we have to, when we study the brain, we go to the hypothalamus. So with me and your dad, the hypothalamus from birth is a survival part of the brain. It tells children you have to eat food and drink water to survive. That's what it says. We do it even not even thinking, because that's the survival part. If we don't do that, we'll die. So what happens with me and your dad is maybe we can stop for a bit, but at certain points of our drinking career, the hypothalamus turns around and switches on us. This is why it's a disease, and tells me I have to drink alcohol to stay alive. So therefore, that's why my kids and my family and my wife, I don't care about all that stuff. I'm the loving father, in the best in the world when I'm sober. But when the part of the brain is flipped and tells me to drink alcohol only above anything else to survive, that's why it's a disease, because you have no choice. That's what people don't understand,
So when you start like working with some of these patients that have like these real like heavy drinking issues, I mean, obviously, I mean, do you have them just stop cold turkey, or is there like a process that they have to go through to kind of wean themselves off of it?
Yeah, there is. Usually people are drinking pretty heavy or using or depressed or have PTSD. So we like to use what's called a taper. So whether it'll be drugs or alcohol, we taper them off. If you stop cold turkey with drugs, you're not going to die. It's going to feel like it, but you're not going to die. You've been heavily drinking and stop, there's a 90% chance you're going to die. So I carry it. People go, "What?" I carry a bottle of vodka in my trunk. In my 3 cars, I have a bottle of vodka and everyone stowed away in the trunk. And the reason why I have that is if I pick an alcoholic up who's going into DTs, then I give him little bits of alcohol till we get into the detox place.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean everything that you guys know about addiction is wrong. There's this fallacy out there that this is it and this is no, it's not true. It's not true. So everybody can recover, and when we recover and heal the three parts, hypothalamus, basal ganglia, amygdala, which differs from any other person with addiction, we're geniuses. And we go on to build empires. I tell my patients all the time, and most of my patients are movie stars, musicians, stuff like that, the real high profile billionaires and stuff, although the rest of my crew, and we take care of the other people, obviously like me and you. But it's we're either going to build an empire or go away. I don't want to talk to you anymore, because everybody has the capacity to do this. That's what people, I don't think I'm good enough. Somebody's put that there.
Yeah.
Somebody's told you somewhere in your childhood trauma, which is the gateway drug, that you can't do A, B, and C. You know how many times I've been told I can't do something? And my reply today is the same old thing. It says who? That's it. It says who? Yeah, but it says who? And the things I've done, from homelessness to I run a multi-million-dollar company with 5 or 6 offices around the world. We do TV, we do books, we do all this stuff. It's like, that is impossible, right? And I go, no. What makes you? I grew up on the projects, man. I grew up fighting to stay alive. I'm rough as anything. So if I can do this, and that's the formula we found to get people from here to here.
Right. And it's funny because even during some of the research on you, you used to be a bit heavier set too, didn't you?
I've just lost 157 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So congratulations.
I used to be a big bodybuilder back in the day. And then, you get married and you let things go. And all of a sudden, the apple pie looks better than the salad.
Hopefully my wife's not watching this right now.
Right. And I'm sat there with like $2 million in my bank account. It's like, I don't really need to do this. I blew 350 something pounds.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I just did the same thing as I do with my patients. I turn the neuroscience round on myself, and I train, because the subconscious mind wakes up in the morning.
Yes.
And the reason why the subconscious mind is very, very big in the morning is lack of oxygen. So when there's lack of oxygen in hypoxic areas, diseases grow, like cancer. Every disease grows in a hypoxic area, but the subconscious brain thrives in that. So we wake up in the morning with the subconscious brain, because there's no oxygen between the hours of 2 and 5 and a normal circadian rhythm sleep pattern. It's when our body is at its lowest. So we get up in the morning and we try and start our day. Unless you're doing 3 things, and one of them includes heavy, heavy breath work to get the oxygen around every single cell in the body, you're going to walk out with the subconscious mind running your day. So imagine waking up. This is the subconscious guy, man. This guy wants you to fail, all the trauma. You can't do this. This guy wakes us up, man. And by doing our morning work, what happens is we snuff this guy out, and the conscious brain's in there. This guy can do anything. Mind over matter, mind, energy, matter, brain, this guy can do everything. And we go through the day and we slay it and we do amazing things. But when we go to sleep, have a guess who wakes us up next morning? This guy. So the 24 hours a day you hear in AA is not an AA thing. It proceeds years and years before that, when we found out that certain parts of the brain reset. So unless you go through the kind of routine and move forward every day, we always have to be improving every single day. You stagnate. When alcoholics, addicts, PTSD, depression, childhood trauma people stagnate, they die.
And I didn't even know about that. For the waking up in the morning.
When you wake up, you're just like, I don't know. Unless you've got something that you've prepped yourself for the next day, like vacation. But usually you've got to do your breath work, teeth work, and mirror work, as we call it. And you'll slay it. I mean, if not you, who? If not now, when?
Right.
Let's get it done.
Evolution, you got any questions right now?
Actually, I got a little background that I want to bring to the forefront. When I was younger, when my father was alive, he drank a lot, and he also gambled a lot. So I experienced that young, seeing his mistakes. So I decided when I got going with my life, I wasn't going to do those things in order to not be the type of person he was.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good. I've been successful with that. I just don't touch the stuff. And, you know, my life, as far as what I've done to this point, is so different than what my father's life was, because it was like everything that he touched went to crap. and, and everything that I touch, you know, I won't say it turns to gold, but it turns out in a better positive result.
Right.
But you said some really interesting things, Rob. Um, Trying to piece it all together here, but you know, I really like all the knowledge that you kind of spewed out so far, and it shows that you've been doing what you've been, you know, do a lot, and you're very good at it, obviously. But I'm thinking here that when you did the example with the hands, um, that was quite interesting. So basically, we all wake up with the same uh, view when we wake up in the morning, and we just have to replace that with a positive, or replace it with the direction that we're trying to go. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and remember, this is subconscious. So we
Mhm.
don't wake up and it's a conscious thing. It's how human beings, with the childhood trauma, the enmeshment, and the learned behavior, it's the way we wake up because of our past. So we have to change that
Mhm.
immediately before that starts running the day. And we've done clinical researches on everything that I say. But yeah, it's so true. But yeah, it's new science, and people don't like new science. Like when I
Yeah.
first came to America, they stripped me of my psychology license because he said what I was teaching was now that they're lining at the door for me to teach them.
Right.
Right? It's like well, it's true. It's true. When we say no, it's okay. We're good. I just knew that I was onto something, and
Mhm.
people didn't believe. I got laughed at, guys. I got laughed at. I got discredited. Every single comment was bad about who does he think he is? He's not a real doctor. He's not from England. He's a piece of shit. I listened and read that for 10 years,
Mm.
but I stayed strong. I
Yeah.
stayed strong because I knew that and you just said it before, guys. I've been through this stuff. There's
Yeah.
nothing I haven't been through that you tell me. Yeah, but you've not been done it. Yeah, but done it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that happened to me. Yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
was taken away through this teaching area to get where I am today. So me and probably a million guys around the world with me are on track and follow my teachings. This is the way out. Why are we taking medication? Let's for instance, if I'm depressed, this is how it goes everywhere in the world. I'm depressed. So you say to your parent or your spouse, I'm depressed. They go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor and you're depressed. Here's a pill. It's a false
Mhm.
serotonin. Take the pill and you feel better. How long do I have to take the pill for? Well, for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So you're just
So when you
replacing
get
an addiction, right?
right. So you've got a false serotonin that replaces while your own serotonin is depleted because you're not using it. Why isn't anybody asking the question, why is my serotonin low in the first place?
Great
Right.
question.
Oh,
Wow.
mic drop.
Yeah. So what okay, so you said you were laughed at with this view. So what is it that triggered you to realize that the brain was what was causing the addiction for you?
Just the fact that I couldn't stop, that
Mm.
I'd lost my kids and my wife and everything I own, and I couldn't stop. And when my wife tried to hide my bottle of vodka, I stabbed her 3 times in the stomach to get the bottle
Mm.
of vodka. That's not normal. And people were telling me, like, well, just stop drinking. I couldn't stop. In actual fact, when I was homeless after about 14 months, I dropped down to my hands and knees on the pavement, 2 o'clock in the morning, pouring down with rain, and I was sobbing like a baby. Now, here's the interesting part. Like everything had happened. I'd lost everything on the streets for 14 months. I wasn't crying because I'd lost everything. I wasn't crying because I don't see my children, which I love dearly.
Mhm.
I was crying because the first time I realized I couldn't stop drinking.
Wow. Wow.
And the pain I had to go through to get there. When they took my children off me, the authorities, the police, the mother, I'd kept them for 2 days and they'd not been fed or changed diapers. I'd been drinking vodka all day and all that. Anyway, they took me. This is what my oldest daughter said. At the age of 3, she's walking down the path with holding mommy's hand. Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. And then further down, she turned around and she said, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. And as they got to the wrought iron gate, they opened this wrought iron gate. And she turned around one more time, guys, and said, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. I can't do it. I can't do it. So don't tell me, guys, not you guys, don't tell me it's a choice, guys, listening to this. Because abusing alcohol and alcoholism are two totally different things. But if you're an alcoholic and you don't get help, you're going to die.
Well, and from your experience, how many of these people that come and see you or see fellow addiction specialists have kind of that turnaround and actually come out of it? And I mean, is there a rate, a certain percentage where they actually just fall back into their old ways?
We have. Now hold on to your seats, guys. Make sure you're clear-minded. We have a 98% success rate when the nearest one to us is 7%. And we're the only company in the freaking universe that offers a money-back guarantee whilst following our program. When you leave us and you relapse or fall back, we'll give you your money back.
Wow.
Unheard of.
That is unheard of. That's insane.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm also thinking about a statement that you made, Dr. Robb. There's no money in recovery, which is how a lot of businesses, if not most of them, or close to all of them, operate, which is sad. They don't treat you to remove the problem or solve the problem or end the problem. They treat you to prolong the problem.
Yes.
When you realize that, or actually, when did you realize that? And then once you realized that, what made you decide to be different?
I realized that kind of because when I was suffering, I went into a couple of very expensive treatment centers, and on the way home, I drank. And then I came to America, and I'm seeing guys going in the same treatment center 2 or 3 or 4 times after relapsing and still paying the 20 grand a month fee. It's like I got angry. It's like, what are you teaching in there? What are you doing? And I'll go to any lengths to research. I booked into a treatment center once as a patient who's relapsed, and the stuff that we're teaching in there was absolutely trash. This is what I heard sat in the group room. Well, first of all, half of you will be relapsing by the time you leave here in a week's time. Okay, well, that's my subconscious brain telling me I'm okay to relapse. And secondly, let's talk about relapse prevention. You either recover from this stuff or you don't. And you can follow it. It's got nothing to do with staying. You can't get well locked up in the treatment center for 30, 60, 90 days. When you come back into the real world, smacks you in the face. So I knew I was onto something. So what we started to do is we bought a ranch just outside Dallas, and we would bring people there. And we would teach them and change the ways, reprogram brains. We have a lot of tools that we use. And I think it was just the money back guarantee that freaks people out. I truly said, Scott, how can you do that? Well, remember 5 years ago when I came to you to try and have that? Go away. Go away. I don't need you. You need me. And I'm not for sale right now. We've turned so many people down. I turned a famous pop singer down in Dallas, Texas for $1 million. And I had about $200 in the bank, $400, I can't remember. But she wasn't ready. And I'm not going to take you. I mean, I think if you have a God or universe or Uncle Jimmy up there, I think if you do the right thing, you're going to be repaid. And I always thought that, just like everyone else in the early days, it's all about the money, because I was never validated by my father, no matter how many bodybuilding trophies I brought home or karate trophies I brought home. I never was. So my proof to him is, if I could buy that new Rolls Royce or Bentley, or if I could live in that $1 million house, if I could just get 50 grand in the bank, check. If I just get 100, check. If I just get $1 million, check. If I just get 10 million, check. It was never good enough. And it was only 2 years ago I realized that I need to start looking after me, not other people chasing the money. So that's what we did. Well, it was more than that. It's probably about 10 years ago. What I did to counteract that was 25% of our work is pro bono. And me and my wife every year give $150,000 back into the community of our own money. Then we've just started the Robb Kelly Foundation to do the same. So a long-winded answer, guys, is if you know your shit and you keep giving back and you don't believe what you, I will never watch this podcast. I've never watched any podcast and never watched me on Oprah. I've never watched me on all the other shows I've been on. Never read my book because I might start believing that shit. And I've got no, that's not for me. I do what I do. I give back as much as I can. Every time I leave the house, I bless someone in monetary. It warms my heart, and God's allowed me to do this. It's not my money, it's his money. So I think once you stay in with people, good people around you, you know, not the people that, if people are not lifting you up on a daily basis, get them out. You have don't be around them. And watch for this guy. Hey, hey, Robbie, I think you're putting a bit of weight on. No, I'm joking. That guy has got to go.
Right.
That guy. And look for these guys who act like a victim in a problem that they created. That's so powerful when I heard that. It's like if my friend calls me up tonight, oh my God, Rob, oh my God, the taxi's broke down or whatever. I'm 5 a.m. I've got to get to the airport for 5. I'll do it. Yeah, Mr. Please, I'll do it. What I used to be like. So I get there, but I'm a bit late because of the traffic early in the morning. And all of a sudden I get into the airport and we're late and he misses his plane. Who does he blame? Blames me. and I'm just trying to help him. So the boundaries are very, very important to me. Don't blame the airline or the traffic. Rob, I was trying to do you a favor. So I stopped people pleasing and I stopped volunteering for stuff. And my boundaries are very clear. I have 3 people in my inner circle, and I've got rid of those negative people. I don't listen to them. I don't hang around them. Show me your friends. I'll show you your future.
It's crazy that you mentioned that because I got married. My family didn't care for my wife. She did nothing wrong. I had when I met my wife, I had 5 warrants out for my arrest from stupid shit that I did back when I was like 18, 19 years old. But I never cared to take care of it. Right. So then we get married. We're planning on having kids. She's like, well, I'm not marrying you unless we get this taken care of. For some reason, my family hated that idea. I cut all of them out. I'm doing a lot better. I got a great credit score. I've got 2 kids, wife. I mean, we're happy. And I couldn't be happier with cutting all that negative out of my life.
Noise. Yeah. That's all it is. It's noise around you. People don't want you. You got to hang around. We are learned behavior people. So what other people do as around us, the mirroring part of brain will pick that up, no matter how absurd it is. So if we've got friends around us that don't want anything, we'll pick that trait up. And again, to emphasize this, we brought 10 people into our waiting room. That's just like Normie come in the waiting room. I paid 9 actors. Now you're going to love this if you understand learned behavior. I paid 9 actors to come in, and here was the deal. I had one patient come in, had no idea, kind of a friend, kind of a patient. They came in, there was 10 people. Every minute, we pressed the buzzer, and the 9 actors stood up. And you could see the woman looking around, and then they sat down again. All 9 stood up, and they looked around, and then one patient went in, so now there's not 8 of them. They all stood up. On the 4th, she stood up. We had no idea why she's doing it.
She just did it.
Yeah, so she stood up, which we was like, oh, they're brilliant. So we called the patients one by one until she was left on her own in the waiting room, and she stood up. Now, if you imagine the people you hang around with who are bad news, you're going to not even know why you're doing it, but you're going to take that on. So when entrepreneurs come to me and said, well, I'm only here for $500,000, I can't get any, because you're hanging around the people with the mindset that you're not $1 million mind. How can you have $1 million mind when you're hanging around 10-cent people? You can't do that.
That's huge.
People that I've been through, right, mic drop. People that I've grew up with, I can go back and help them guys, but I can't live there.
Yeah.
I can't live there anymore. Stop hanging around 10-cent minds. We're born with $1 million minds.
Right.
But learned behavior. We got 1,000 fleas in a mason jar. We put holes in the top. We screwed it down. We left them in for 3 days. Okay. Again, learned behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. After 3 days, we took it off. Now, fleas can jump 3 or 4 feet in the air.
Yes.
Not one flea jumped higher than where the cat was. Interesting. But we left it there.
and they had babies in that jar, and the babies won't jump higher than where the cat was, and they'd never even seen the cat.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's because it's trained. It's just the mind.
Right. So if my dad's a gas man, and my dad is on the dole, and my dad's getting benefits, and he's drinking every day.
Mhm.
Really? If a daughter's in a house, a young daughter sees dad coming home a couple of nights a week, drunk out of his head, beating in a fist fight with mom, with the energy and the learned behavior and the enmeshment of mom, she's going to go out and attract the same guy who beats her up and ends up drinking too much. And we've traced and tracked this to the extent that if she meets a good guy, she will self-sabotage that relationship. So it doesn't.
Wow.
Right?
That's crazy.
Oh man. You know, Dr. Rob, I'm hearing some great things right now. But what you just said about how the woman self-sabotages the relationship with the good guy, I think I might have been involved in that. Because I did, everything I could to try to make a happy life and make things go well. And no matter what I did, there was something that the other person did to counteract that. So eventually, of course, it didn't work, and I didn't realize what I'd gotten into, because not only the ex, but like a lot of people that the ex was tied to were that way as well. So I noticed it once I did make the hard decision to remove myself from all those people. That's when things really started to happen. So you definitely have strong, true points that's going on. And I've already lived that. So I know you're telling some real factual truth. So I appreciate that.
I do gotta say, you moved here from the UK, and then I've had people on from around the world, and one thing I've heard from people outside looking at our country is that we are all about promoting drugs and medication. Have you seen that as more of an issue here in the States rather than around the world?
What a great question. What a great question. It's two people that rule this country, and it's not the government. It's the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry. So the food industry gets us sick. 90% of anywhere you buy is full with, rancid oils and all sorts of crap that's bad for us. And what happens is, when the food is as bad as it is, and it has been for probably 80 years, this is what's happening with human beings today. We go to the supermarket and we buy food and we don't know what we're buying. Most stuff you buy in the supermarket isn't real food. Like the ice cream, you look at the stuff, the ice cream, look if it says ice cream on it, it won't say ice cream on it. It'll make up, crazy words. Okay. So this is what happens. So my dad has heart disease. Okay. So I grew up in a house with the staple diet that mom and dad provided for us. And I leave the house and I kind of stick to the staple diet. And then what happens is I get heart disease. So what I'm saying is, hey, it's generic. I've caught it off dad. It's biologically impossible. This is what happens. There's a certain gene or protein or food, that dad can't methylate in the diet that they're eating. He doesn't know this. He's the chips or whatever, fries it, he loves it. But he doesn't know there's a certain protein or food he can't methylate. When he can't methylate a certain protein or food, there becomes a deficiency in that area. That deficiency causes the cancer, causes the heart problems, causes the inflammation. Because I stick in the same, I do the same. My genes are almost like my dad's, so I have heart disease. So that's the problem with the food. And then, so what happens is the food industry keeps us sick. We go to the doctor, and the pharmaceutical companies have got us. I ask people all of the time, have you ever taken a medication from the doctor that you've taken that's cured your illness and you don't have to take ever again? The answer is no. What pharmaceutical companies give you are on for life. That's it, you're done. And most of the stuff that you take is bad for you. Everything you put in your mouth has the side effects.
Right.
It's just, so we have a big problem.
Yeah.
And when the pharmaceutical companies are paying the doctors, to promote, Adderall was one of those things that they got caught, then, we're in a bad way. I was on with the CEO of Purdue and the head of their head attorney on live TV. I don't know how many years ago, but I went off on them, telling them the truth. And the very next day, swear on my children's life, they filed for bankruptcy. I don't take any shit, guys, of anybody.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I'm not for sale. I say things that other people wish they could say and only thinking, what are you going to do to me? And my answer is always this: why did you do that? You took a chance. I died twice on the streets of Manchester. Fuck you going to do to me that I haven't already done to myself?
Right. Well, and I think that personal experience kind of helps to drive you too, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
It's an incredible story. Like, it really is.
Absolutely.
And I think that we all have, I feel like a lot of people have addictive personalities to something. I mean, if you walk down the street right now, how many people are staring at their phones? It's just, that mindset.
Yeah.
So it's very obvious. If technology shut down today and electricity and all that was, how many people wouldn't be able to survive or would go just crazy?
95%. We did heavy research around COVID, and when we found out that this people on death row, which we're allowed to go in and monitor, 90% were insane by the time they get to the chair. Why were they insane? They took their identity off them and they isolated them. That's it. What did we do with COVID? We took people's identity off them and we kept them isolated. When the liquor store keeps open for business because it's classed as an essential business, we know we're in trouble. Yeah. So the backlash from that, we've seen about 2% right now. 2%. All you got to do, and I tell this to people that always have the phone, I can't understand drug addicts. I can't understand alcoholics. Okay, well, give me your phone and I'm going to put it on the table over here. And every time you look at the phone thinking, I wish I could use it, that's what a drug addict's like.
Wow.
You're not playing games with this shit, This is not choice. But you see, I do it myself. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? I left my phone in a bathroom of a restaurant once. You would have thought you'd taken my heart out. Yeah. And that's what people are. That people do not communicate. Young kids have no social skills. Back in the day, I mean, everyone's keyboard happy now, warrior. I'll say that you're a piece of crap. Yeah, in my day, you got punched in the mouth for that.
Right.
People have no consequences. Or they don't have any anymore. You say anything they want. I look at Rob. Who do you think he is? I'll tell you what the guy is. I'm a freaking multimillionaire from coming from homelessness. That's all. What are you doing with your life? Right. You never answer back. I don't know why.
I know why. So how many of these people that you've treated not only come to you with an alcohol addiction, but probably an addiction to other medication because they went and saw other people?
Well, when we look at our record, and we did this about 6 months ago, let's take heroin addiction. 90% of people that came to us with a staunch heroin addiction started in the doctor's office.
Wow.
Because they needed something more because it wasn't doing it for them, right?
Because, and all of a sudden you're getting these heavy medications, the doctor has to cut you off. Sooner or later, he's going to get investigated, cuts you off, go to the streets.
Yep. Well, yeah. And even then, like, I think there are people who have medical issues that need certain medicines.
Yes. 100%.
I think that they're giving these to other people for no reason. But then the pharmacy, we've ran into issues where the pharmacy's like, well, we hit our cap for the month. I can't give it to you anymore. So there's people that need it. And then there's people that just have that addictive.
ADHD.
Yeah.
I think it was 4 letters that somebody put together one night when they were drunk. Because if you'd have ADHD, if you really have it, I don't call it attention deficit. I call it attention overload. Okay, because they're very smart people. So if you're taking Adderall, it gives you a high to stay up all night. You haven't got ADHD. ADHD calms you down. So 95% of people that are ADHD are not ADHD. There was a time in Texas, you could fit England in Texas like 10 times. Texas, you couldn't find an Adderall pill because they'd run out. There was weeks and weeks backlash from prescriptions you couldn't cash. Tell me that's about ADHD, or tell me it's about the trillions of dollars they get from that.
Right. That's insane. That is so insane. Well, and then you hear these people who have like this zombie state of mind when they take medication too. And so it's really restricting you from your full potential, correct?
100%, man. And because, see, the brain doesn't know the difference between pharmaceutical drugs and street drugs. So if you go to your doctor and he puts you on a black box medicine, for instance, and you feel zombied out, but you go, hey, the doctor gave it to me. It's like doctors don't know shit about addiction, alcoholism, depression, PTSD. They don't know nothing. There is no training in the world during their 9 years of medical school and whatever that talks to us about addiction. Nothing. There's not all childhood behavior. If you're going to the doctor, okay, and you're saying you're depressed, and he's writing you out a prescription for depressed meds without asking you what your diet's like, how much exercise do you get, what's your fresh air, do you do any grounding? If he's not asking them questions, guys, well, guess what? You've got a high-paid drug dealer. That's all you have in your hands.
Right.
Because they don't know.
Right. Evolution, you got any questions?
Mostly responses. I mean, this is great. I'm glad I decided to join you today. So basically, you know, in a nutshell, doctors are the cause of addiction.
They're a major cause of addiction. When addiction, alcoholism and addiction is the third leading cause of preventative death, then you know we got a problem.
And why is it legalized? Like, that's another thing. Like, why do we allow it to just be legal?
So people, you know, lobbying parties, they may get paid 60, 70 grand a year to lobby something. When you're getting paid billions and billions of dollars a year to make sure this gets passed, when you're putting medication through with 4 to 5 weeks COVID shots, research, you know, when you're paying off people to make sure that this medication goes through, we're in a multi-trillion-dollar game. People die over this shit. People go missing because they put up a fence against this. This is not. I've worked with the government. I've worked with very high-profile people in the government, and I've seen people disappear trying to stand up to these guys. When I did that interview with Purdue, I knew there was going to be a hit on me or something somehow. And there was a bit of bad press from nowhere, the medical journal, something like that. We wiped it out. But yeah, I'm, you know, maybe one of these days I'll get taken out. But I tell you what, I'm going to do a lot of damage before I do, because I don't report to anybody anymore. You know, I don't have to follow rules. I just tell the truth. I can do a TikTok every morning at 8 and people are mesmerized by what I'm saying. It's like, how could you say this? And you've got to be careful of your life. I died twice on the streets of Manchester. What are you going to do to me? I don't understand. I don't understand what you fit. What are you going to do to me? You're going to. Right. You're not going to come around and fight me. That's a certain. I might be 63-year-old, but I will put you on your ass without you blinking, man. You know, I am strong. I'm fighting every single day. You know, practicing. It's like you can't do that. What are you going to do? Verbally on internet? Do what you got to do, guys. But
you're right.
Away.
You're right. I mean, social media has definitely, and I think social media has caused a lot of like depression in children too. Huge. And because of the backlash and the commentary, I mean, you see teenagers out there with like thousands or millions of followers, and like all they need is their phone. They don't need schooling. They don't need an education.
And then what happens is, if you're going to bed at nighttime and the last thing you look at is your Facebook, for instance, okay, and you go to bed, you get next morning, there's 5 no likes or comments that are bad. That's just ruined your day. That's programmed your day to be shit, no matter what happens. Because I did this experiment on myself. I spoke in California 12, 13 years ago, 1,000 people. At the end, they said, give 2 hours so you can shake hands with everybody. 999 guys said you were mind-blowing. And one guy said you were loud, you were misinformed. I just think you were terrible. Have to guess who I concentrated on for the next 3 months and nearly relapsed? The one guy.
That one guy. And
there's a reason for that with the subconscious brain. There's a reason why we do that. It comes from childhood, and we figured that out. Yeah, it's that's why you got to be careful who you're surrounded by. Don't look at the media if you're trying to build an empire. Don't listen to what people say. Get 3 or 4 good people around you who's telling you all the time you're doing great, Jim, and also pull you on that bullshit as well. Like I got guys who tell me straight away. I did a studio in Paramount, and now they provide everything for you. You know, chauffeurs, private planes, and everything. And it came off, and I said to one of my guys, "Where's my chauffeur?" And he literally slapped me in the face, and I was stunned. Like nobody's ever slapped me in the face. And he just looked at me and he said, if I ever hear you say that again, Rob, our friendship is over, because I'll tell you something right now. It's not your freaking chauffeur. You're blessed to be here. Don't ever think you're better than anybody else. And it's a big lesson for me, you know, because when you start getting up here financially, which I always thought would make me happy, right?
latest Porsche, biggest house, but expensive 50 grand Rolex. I thought that, no.
Mhm.
When I found out that happiness was an inside job, and it's not my job to make my wife happy, it was a big eye opener for me. And money, it's great. I've lived poor and I've been rich. Don't get me wrong. I choose rich every time,
Yeah.
but it doesn't buy you happiness, and you cannot change. If you're a dick when you're broke, you're going to be a dick when you're rich. Okay. If you're a nice person when you're broke, you're going to be a nice person when you're rich. It
Right.
just can't define you, My past can't define me today. Stay away from the people that's got a problem for every solution. Stay away from them guys, man.
Do you think that we talk about money here, so let's get on that for a second before we start to kind of wrap this up. Do you think that the way that things are priced and the way that the cost of living has caused people to kind of go into a depressive state and into like an alcoholic, addiction? Because I see a lot of people that turn to it and they get upset because, well, I can't provide for my kids or my family. I mean, obviously that's a choice, but do you think that there are things in society that are kind of causing people to kind of steer that way?
So I've done literally thousands of these. I'm on Joe Rogan, I think, 6 weeks time. I mean, I'm very experienced in this stuff.
Yeah.
I have never heard such an intelligent question as that.
Hmm.
What a great question. The answer is yeah, of course. Because when people get to the point that they can't cope, then overload sets in. What's the quickest way to get away from you? Alcohol, drugs. What's the best way to jump into that depression? That nothing's ever going right for you. It's not true, guys. If you're sat at home and you're going through this, if you're a good woman that the husband has left you and you sat there with 2 kids in a 1-bedroom broken apartment, this is not your lot. This is a teaching period for you. It's not your lot. You can become anything or anybody you want to be. And people, I used to say this years ago, and people used to go, well, I can't be president of the United States. Let's forget the political views for a second, okay? We had a freaking businessman running the country with no political experience whatsoever.
Right.
Don't dare tell me that you can't achieve your dreams. It's just not true. In actual fact, I want to apologize to you. Somebody's put that there.
Mhm.
The mind is so powerful that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. So the husband's that good riddance to him, I say.
Yeah.
Start that you've got 2 little babies at home, start making baby stuff, get on the internet, start getting a few business cards, get a normal job. If you've got a job you hate, if you're counting off the Wednesday, it's hump day and the TGI Friday, you need another job.
Right.
If you're going home every night and the wife or the husband, and you're walking on eggshells and you need another wife.
Mhm.
But it's not really that. It really is that easy.
Yeah.
Why do we stay in relationships way too long when it hurts us? Why do we go to a job for 8 hours a day walking on the same carpet with people we hate? Why we get another job? Oh, shut up. That's an excuse. Give me one reason why you can't do it. Well, shut up. That's an excuse. You can't give me one reason why you can't do this. And the only reason you have, look at the first billionaire author, J.K. Rowling. You know how many times she was turned down with children on benefits? Because her husband says she was a piece of crap and she'll never amount to anything. And she kept on going and kept on going. She kept on. And the only result is you'll finally succeed. Look how many times the Beatles were turned down, man.
Mhm.
They were told by one record producer, you will never make a record because you can't sing, you can't play bass, your drummer's crap. They told them that.
Yeah.
Start the empire with the belief. If you don't think you're the best in the world at anything, go drink. If you don't think your life's better and you can't help, go drink. What's the point of being here? You are going through this for a reason. You are put on this earth for a reason. What is your niche? What were you put on this earth for? Was it to make baby socks for little babies? If that's it, create that freaking empire and call yourself the best in the world. I have a business card. You know what it says on the back? The best addictionologist in the world. The best. Because once you start that mindset, other people will jump on that mindset and then it becomes a working part of the brain. When it becomes a working part of the brain, it's reality. The brain doesn't know the difference between real and false. The brain doesn't know that. When you watch a sad movie or a scary, you're scared out, you're shitless. It doesn't know the difference.
So
Right.
why not walk in the light? Why not walk as if you're already a millionaire, as if your company's already doing $100 million a year? Start walking, acting, walk out and get in that broken down car that's cost about $200, but pretend you're getting in a Bentley and start calling and get rid of those people around you, man, that don't want you to fail. And there's always one, family or friends, there's always one that wants to fail. Seek out who that is. Watch for the guys not applauding when you win something, and life will become amazing.
Boom.
Oh, baby,
That's
what
it.
I'm talking about.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's a hell of an episode right here, guys.
Man, this is awesome, dude. I'm so glad I tuned in.
Yes.
Dr. Robb, really appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're awesome. We need way more people like yourself.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I want to kind of put the emphasis on what you just said. Not that, I mean, your voice is, yeah, I mean, thank you. That's all I gotta say. But I've been around so many people who have different forms of addiction, and I've seen it and I've experienced it. Do I have an addiction? I have an addiction to doing this. I love what I do. I love, being on here and meeting people like you and having this experience and just getting to hear these kind of stories, because if anything, it just validates, my views on these things. And I think living through it does kind of help. So maybe those people who have fallen into it that didn't live it, it might be a little bit harder for them to understand. But I think it's just a matter of pushing through it and finding the resolution instead of just dwelling on what's there and what's causing you to be the way you are.
See, the thing is, I'll finish on this. The thing is that you don't know what people are going through, man. Okay. So there's a guy that walked to the Golden Gate Bridge, threw himself off, killed himself, committed suicide. Young kid. The police pulled him out. They found his ID on him, went back to the apartment looking for next of kin. What they found was a letter on the kitchen table, and it read, "I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge, throw myself and commit suicide, unless on the way there, which was an hour, somebody smiles at me, says hello or good morning. In that case, I'll stop right there. I'll turn around and I'll try again."
Wow.
Question to you guys listening to this. How many people have you walked past today who's heading to the Golden Gate Bridge?
Wow.
So many. And I've heard that too. Like the smile. Like, does a smile create a response? Is there something in the brain?
Dopamine,
That's a dopamine
man.
kick. Yeah.
And listen, if you don't think this is true, when you're in a built-up area of people, look for somebody with sneakers. This is always the best. Okay, walking towards you, nice sneakers. Say 2 words, nice sneakers. Or even 3, nice sneakers, man. Whatever it is. Oh, thank you, man. Walk past. Turn around, watch him. He's going to look down at his sneakers at least 2, maybe 3 times, okay? So now you've just changed his whole world. But guess what? When he goes home to the girlfriend or wife because he's in a good mood, now she's in a good mood. Then the mother-in-law calls. Nice sneakers. Dopamine's released into your brain. Dopamine's released into there. You've just changed the world, man.
Wow.
You don't think we're this powerful, but we are. And don't let anybody tell you different. We're this powerful, guys.
Dr. Robb Kelly, I appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much. I would love to have you on again, maybe to talk about some things in the future. Maybe
Tomorrow.
more like.
I love this podcast.
Thank you so much. And again, I'll send your. I guess. Do you want links to all this stuff or no?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we love it, but
Yeah.
it's just come find me, guys. We'll message you, and
Okay.
if I love this show, okay.
Thank you.
I really do. I don't often say this. I mean, I really do. I love you guys and stuff. If you're listening and you're that person in that broken down apartment when everyone else has left you and there's nowhere else to go and you're thinking of committing suicide, I want you to text me, man. 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. Text me. Whenever I get a minute, because I'm obviously busy, I'll text you back. And this is what's going to happen. We're going to arrange a time where I call you. And I'm going to give you a 20-minute pep talk that will change your life. And do you know if it doesn't, guys? I'll send you $100 for wasting your time.
Wow.
Another mic drop.
Man.
All right. Evolution, you got
That's
anything
beautiful.
before we end this?
Actually, this is literally the first time that I've just benefited from being on a podcast. Usually I'm the one that's giving information to help people out and make their life better. Dude, this is great. This is fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Robb.
Yeah.
Of course, man. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch, Dr. Robb. And to everybody that's listening or going to listen later, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you around.
Take care.